Is it worth to push this body if the mind cannot be stopped? Giving up, Chapter 3. Lord Buddha has declared to the world that not knowing of four things is the ignorance of the human being. These four things are the suffering, the arising of suffering, cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Due to the ignorance of these four noble truths, the beings are subject to birth, decay, disease, and death, and they strive relentlessly to maintain this body in a healthy state. You must have seen men and women running around every playing field, bodybuilding gymnasiums, walking paths, on the roadways, and even on the grassy fields. For what purpose is this? This is to avoid birth, decay, disease, and death. Fastest runner in this world is the cheetah. These animals die in their tender age, young age, and their middle age. They too meet the birth, decay, disease, and death. The animal that exercises the most in this world is the monkey, jumping all day long from one branch to another, thus exercising he exists. These monkeys too die at a tender age, young age, and in the middle age. They too face birth, decay, disease, and death. Therefore, either through running, walking, or with exercise can one stop birth, decay, disease, and death. The day we begin to stop this running, that would be the day we can overcome birth, decay, disease, and death. Whose running do we need to stop? We need to stop that running mind with its desire for this body. The mind with its holding, upadana, when stopped, is the point where the suffering ends. What is it that hides in this running and exercising? It is ignorance. This running is simply running more towards ignorance, towards the world, towards suffering. What we are trying to maintain healthy is a body that inclines towards ill health at every moment. What you are trying to fill up with muscles is a body that wrinkles towards ill health. There never existed or exists a person in this world that by running or exercising got a solution to relieve this body from birth, decay, disease, and death. The one who sees that this body is a nursery for birth, decay, disease, and death, then having got released from the lustful desire towards the form, is the one who is freed from suffering. Now the common man, Pruthajjana, one who has not realized the teaching, without seeing the danger in the form and its evil effects, is subject to birth, decay, disease, and death. And so he grieves, trembles, and fears. Beauty will disown me, beauty will vanish, and the good health too will vanish, and so on. The one who has a lean body will build his body and be happy. The one who has a huge body will slim his body and be happy. The fat one will get rid of his fat and try to be happy. The one who lacks vitamins will supplement with all vitamins and try to be happy. What is it that we see in all this? What is in excess we reduce, and what is reduced we adorn. One clings to that which is less, and the other clings to that which is in excess. Where is the limit of all this, the border of all this? And who decides this limit or the border? The decision maker is the common Pruthajjana mind. Having reduced or added, we have gradually reached the borderline of death, and we surpass that border with dissatisfaction. Why? Because we changed our nature without the thought that we will die, but holding on to the view that we will remain healthy and be submerged in health. When that view that is health starts to show cracks, all what remains is dissatisfaction, the fear of death, and conflict. In this conflict, neither exercise nor strength nor vitamin syrup will help. What you inherited through all the above is only suffering. During your lifetime, if you only train to gain permanency through physical strength, exercises and so forth, and at the time of death, if this perception appears as the last wish, if you cling to the above states, then your next birth could be in the womb of a cheetah or a monkey. Why? Because the way you wish to be and held on to your life to run happily and to exercise happily. One time when a bhikkhu was in deep concentration, samadhi, he saw this vision. About 200 meters above in the sky, a team of about 20 persons was performing gymnastics on swinging cradle-like instruments. Without any fear and with rhythm, they were descending to the ground and again ascending to the sky. They were performing a dangerous sport without any fear and with ease and comfort. They were somersaulting and enjoying on bridges made of coir. They do not belong to the world of pretas, ghosts. They were a group of people in the form of humans with good bodies, clad in white shirts and trousers. This bhikkhu recognized them as a group of people belonging to the devas, gods. They are those who held to such sports in the past in the human world, and now they have again congregated. They are not a productive deva group, but a group that is just above the state of the ghosts. They did not possess the bright light or illumination of the devas. Their bodies represent the latent nature. It is clear when there is holding, upadana, thus is the way in the future. This is said by the bhikkhu to analyze the doctrine of dependent origination. You may run, exercise, but make sure that you indulge in them without the influence of the notion or the view of permanency towards my body, my strength, my health, my beauty, my personality and my shape, and with the full understanding that all above cannot be won over or kept within you. However, it is not easy to do. The Mara's mind you carry turns you around towards the direction of permanency. Due to the rock-hard existence of wrong view in the past, you even suffer to bring happiness to this body. Those naked ascetics, having rejected comfortable seats while walking on thorny land and sleeping on them, gave much pain to the body. Why was this? They went in search of happiness. Thus they exhaust their past karma. When you compare those runners and those who do rigorous exercises in the present times, one might tend to think that this is a shade of the naked ascetics in the past. Why? Because they too run and exercise in search of happiness in the future. With whatever perception you hold, viewing this decaying body as permanent, through that you will only reap suffering. With whatever effort you take to beautify these muscles, when you catch a common cold or fever or any such illness, in the absence of a week's exercises, the body once again becomes like jelly. The shape too changes. However much you may run and exercise, thus keeping this body healthy, when you have to attend a wedding or some functions with lavish parties or during the festive season, we once again see our sugar, starch and fat levels increased. In whatever direction you try to suppress birth, decay, disease and death, it's like the rubber ball kept under water. It surfaces as soon as the pressure is released. Those doctors who treat them, those trainers who train them, will give advice on medical aspects and advice on physical exercises. They give such advice while they themselves are subject to the same nature. They too have not escaped from that nature. When they are sick, they too need to visit another doctor for treatment. But the greatest physician who declared the treatment for this sickness is Lord Buddha. Before declaring the treatment to others, he himself got released from birth, decay, disease and sickness. Lord Buddha permitted his disciples to be contented with the maximum subsistence of 2 meals per day, along with 3 robes and the bowl. An often declared noble advice from his sacred mouth is that 1 meal a day gives an incredible lightness to the body. You must guard your tongue, be quenched from the desire for taste. Dwell on the impurities of food. Then without any effort, your body will gain a certain degree of health, will get pleasant, will shape well. And so if you give up the greed for taste, to a certain extent it will pave the way to good health. You will experience the comfort of lightness in giving up. The one who is wise should not strive to spend a long lifespan, but as soon as possible try to escape from birth, decay, disease and death, to be released from further birth. If one cannot achieve that purpose, at least make all effort to shorten the cycle of rebirth. Whichever one you achieve, within you make a resolve to overcome the ignorance that there is permanent good health, permanent beauty, or permanent form. However, some even declare that though we exercise or work our bodies, we do so with the reflection on impermanence. Yet this too is a dark Dhamma of the Mara. It is similar to wishing and believing that the joy and happiness in the human and the Deva worlds come to conclusion in Nibbana. This is not possible since they are 2 different natures. Deva world and human world means holding to things. Nibbana means relinquishment. So at the end of holding, one cannot expect relinquishment. This would be a wrong belief which would not be fulfilled. In this cycle of birth, samsara, we walk this journey for many multitudes of eons because we believed and held to such wrong views. We need to come to terms with one of these natures, either to hold on to things or to relinquish or let go of things. The Puthajjana or common man holds or clings to things they like with an incredible appetite for greed. What is the first thing that the human being holds in life? That is the womb of his mother. The first moment when life takes place in the mother's womb as a tiny baby, he clings tightly to the womb of the mother as mine. Inside the womb, he succumbs to a great deal of pain. Being centered inside a balloon, both hands and legs being crouched, lives among the pus, blood, fat, dirt, urine, intestines, vomit, and digested and undigested food. In the middle of all that, and being subject to the pressures of the air element in the womb, the warmth or the heat element in the womb, various fluids or the watery element inside the womb, this tiny baby grows. Even though he grows up in such an indiscriminate environment, he does not dislike living in that manner inside the womb. He does not reflect that living in a womb is suffering. This baby clings to the womb as mine. It's his place of residence. This place he has descended, the womb. He clings to it as mine because of the mighty power of clinging or holding born out of desire. He firmly grips it as mine and sees it as a pleasure, not as a place in which he has to suffer in the manner described above. 9 months passes in this manner, and with much fatigue he is born into this world. What a massive innocent pain the mother goes through to set him out of this clinging. How much the mother needs to strain, how much energy she needs to expel. Why does this mother have to go through all this suffering? Because the baby has held firmly to the womb and takes the womb as his residence, as mine, shows dislike and now refuses to leave it. In the end, it's a tough battle between the mother and the baby. The baby sets forth effort to cling to the womb. The mother sets forth effort to bring him out to the world. During this battle between the baby who clings to the womb and the mother who wishes to save the baby and cling for the ownership of the baby, the mother, who possesses the greater strength, becomes victorious. If the mother does not have this strength, the gynecologist intervenes, and through surgery brings the baby out by force. See the following sequence of events. The baby, having clung to the womb, strives to remain so. The mother, through clinging as my child, strives to carry him in her arms and claim ownership. The gynecologist clings to his profession, through surgery tries to bring the child out to the world. The nurse clings to her profession, with care and without calamity strives to bring the child out to the world. In all these four people, what's active is that clinging or holding. What each one held with desire is that which is seen as happiness. In this manner, when the child is born, he yells and weeps while emerging to this world. Why is this yelling and weeping? It's been his residence for 9 months and now he must disown it. It pains him and he fears the unknown. He is shouting due to his helpless state. The mother and the gynecologist together dragged him out against his wishes, and he opposes it strongly. When the child yells due to disowning of his residence, the mother is exceedingly happy to hear his sounds. She sheds tears of joy. Now I have my baby. The suffering due to disowning and happiness through gaining is what both experience. However, the nature of this experience in one moment turns to impermanence. What happens to the child having been released from the womb and later experiences the world? He then clings to the warmth of the mother and her breast. Now the child clings to greater happiness than where he was. He now clings to his mother's warmth and her breast as mine and enjoys his existence. And now if you try to release him from the mother's warmth and her breast, he begins to yell again, opposes greatly. Now you can see the nature of clinging, from one mode of clinging to another. The experience of the womb fell to the nature of impermanence, and he now clings to a new experience. This experience too will fall into the same nature and follows with more clinging to further experience the father, the swing, kindergarten, school, university, job, house, wife, children, grandchildren, and so forth. When one leaves, the next form is there to be held, and he enjoys things in progression and takes them as mine.